Good morning and welcome to Impact Church. Please stand and worship along with us.
Your love for me won't change, even when I hold back, even when I'm hiding. You cover me with grace, even in my failure, even in the striving. You cross the distances to find my heart, and now there's nothing left to say. Oh, how I love you, and how I need you, how beautiful your grace, how you love me, and how you treat me, how beautiful your grace.
Sing with me.
You run to me, my Father. You're singing through the darkness. You're speaking to my need. You say to me, my Savior, that you will not abandon. You will never leave. You'll never leave. Oh, how I love you, and how I need you, how beautiful your grace, how you love me, and how you treat me, how beautiful your grace. Oh, mercy, you are mercy. You're the healing for my heart. Worthy, you call me worthy. You love me from the start. Mercy, you are mercy. You're the healing for my heart. Worthy, you call me worthy. You love me from the start. Oh, how I love you, and how I need you, how beautiful your grace, how you love me, and how you treat me, how beautiful. Oh, how I love you, and how I need you, how beautiful your grace, and how you love me, and how you treat me, how beautiful. And oh, how I love you, and how I need you, how beautiful your grace, and how you love me, and how you treat me, how beautiful your grace. Oh Lord, you are my God. That place belongs to only you, the author of it all. Consume these pages as as you choose. 'Cause if you signed your name upon my heart, the way that authors always do, then you must be proud to call me yours, and I must be made for loving you. Oh Lord, you are my God. That claim belongs to only you, the architect of life. Each breath I draw was drawn by you, and if dependence runs in your design, then who am I outside of you? Lord, without your breath I won't survive, so I must be made for trusting you. Oh Lord, you are my God. That space belongs to only you. From a throne room in the stars to the throne room of my heart, you rule. For you reign in realms we'll never find, and you dwell in worlds outside of you. Oh, you care to own this heart of mine, so I must be made to worship you. Let's sing. My God is the one and only God, whoever was and is to come, forever worthy of my song. So I sing out, my God is the wonder-working God, from ancient skies down to that cross, the empty grave to kingdom come. So I sing out, my God is the one and only God, whoever was and is to come, forever worthy of my song. So I sing out, my God is the wonder-working God, from ancient skies down to that cross, the empty grave to kingdom come. So I cry out, our God is the one and only God, whoever was and is to come, forever worthy of our song. So we sing out, our God is the wonder-working God, from ancient skies down to that cross, the empty grave to kingdom come. So we cry out. You know, this next song is a reminder of God's everlasting presence in our life. He's right there next to us in the good times and in the bad. Oftentimes we're asking for him to guide us through something, and he's already there. He's doing it. So let's sing about that now as we remember that he is there in the hardest of times, in our darkest hours. There's a grace when the heart is under fire, another way when the walls are closing in. And when I look at the space between where I used to be and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. There was another in the fire standing next to me. There was another in the waters holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding of how I've been set free, there is a cross that bears the burden where another died for me. There is another in the fire. Let's sing. All my dead left for dead beneath the waters. I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. And should I fall in the space between what remains of me and this reckoning, either way I won't bow to the things of this world. Oh, and I know I will never be alone. There is another in the fire standing next to me. There is another in the waters holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding what power set me free, there is a grave that holds nobody, and now that power lives in me. There is another in the fire. Oh, 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 and I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between wears thin. I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us. Yes. Sing with me. There is no other name but the name that is Jesus. He who was and still is and will be through it all. So come what may in the space between all the things unseen and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. Sing again. 'Cause I know I will never be alone. There'll be another in the fire standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. And I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between wears thin. I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between. There'll be another in the fire standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Let's pray. Dear God, we are so thankful to know that you are there walking with us in every battle that we face. If there's anyone here, God, who hasn't realized that, will you touch their hearts today? Open their hearts, open their minds so they can learn from your word. They can hear you speak. We know that you're with us as we're walking through the week, through the months, through these seasons, whether good or bad. God, let us never forget to thank you for all the blessings that you have given us and will continue to give us. And let us never forget that you are there, even when it's hard for us to be thankful. It's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen. You may be seated.
Well, good morning, church. Welcome, everyone, to Impact Church. My name is Pastor Michelle, and I'm pastor of Karen Outreach here. I've got a couple of announcements for you this morning. And the first one is to make sure you pick up the connection card on your seat. Fill this out. This is for everybody. We've got an opportunity to mark any next steps that you'd like to take, prayer requests that you have, because we are praying for you all week long. Remember to put that in the little gray bin in the back. But especially if it is your first time here, please fill that out, because we do this thing where we donate $2 on your behalf to a local charity or organization, and we're just kicking off our new quarter and new organization. So we are sponsoring Care Healing Center in Westminster. And what this center does is they help survivors of sexual assault and sexual abuse, and then they will help those survivors with any of their next steps, and all the donations will not only go towards them, but specifically to help women with items that they need after they check in with the center, so like a change of clothes, toiletries, that sort of thing. And then our kids are going to help make calm down bags and like fidget bags for other children who sometimes need to go into court or testify and go through some really hard things. So it's just little care bags for kids too. So like fidget items to help them calm down, bubbles to help them breathe. And it's just a really beautiful ministry that we're able to partner with out in Westminster. So we'll start to have more information come out about them throughout this quarter. So that's them. And then if it is your second time here, still fill it out, because that is how you get the Impact Church t-shirt that you see. Make sure a greeter gets it, and they'll help you pick that out. Couple more announcements, because it is October and it is a busy season. So next one is our movie night. It's the last movie night of the season. So we are going to be watching Ghostbusters with our town. That sounds really fun, but even better than that is all the activities that happen before the movie. So as a church, we love to partner with our Parks and Recs team out in Sykesville, and we offer games and crafts and face painting and different things. And we need a little bit of help still, just volunteers to keep the day running. So if that's something that you enjoy doing, or you've never tried it before and you want to come out with us, we'd love to see you on movie night and just be out there making a difference with our town. And then the next is, let's see what's next. Oh, okay, they're split up. Just kidding. So the next opportunity for you is our Apologetics 102 class. And I want to explain this a little bit. So we usually talk to you guys about your ownership class, or we don't use the word members here, we use owners. So to become an owner of Impact Church, to learn a little bit more about us as a church, the Church of the Nazarene, we usually promote our ownership class. Well, for the first time, we're going to be doing an Apologetics 102, and so this is a class that's sort of a next step after that, to go a little bit deeper into what is the doctrine of the Church of the Nazarene? What do we believe? And we talk about that pretty lightly in the ownership class, but this is an opportunity to go deeper with that, to ask some questions. We're going to go through what we call our articles of faith, and these are things that you should know. These are things that, we want to equip you with how to talk about that, and just an opportunity to ask questions. So come ready with questions. Grill me, because I'll be teaching this class. And then that is, you can just sign up impactchurchmd.com/ownership, because we want to take you all just through some next steps even after ownership class. There's going to be a Strengths 103 class that Erica is teaching, and so just opportunities to go deeper with that. And then if you miss this one, we're going to be doing this quarterly now. because we usually get a lot of questions during ownership class, and it's only an hour, and we can't possibly unpack everything there for you guys. So we want to make that available to you, so sign up for that, and I'll be teaching that on October 21st. Very excited to see you there online. And the next one, that's the one I thought it was coming next. Okay, next time we'll sandwich them together. So Trick or Treat on Main. This is a huge event. We do partner with our Parks and Rec team all year long, but if we could pick one event that is one of the biggest, it's this one. Imagine hundreds and hundreds of children and families downtown in our town of Sykesville, trick-or-treating on Main Street, and yet again, we like to add to these events. So they'll trick-or-treat down Main Street and get candy for a couple of minutes, but then they come up the hill and they participate in games that our church is able to offer, and it's just a really wonderful way to connect with families, and this is what we need some help with. So if that excites you, if you want to help lead a game, so we need families to help adopt different themes and different games. So our theme is At the Movies. So you would pick whatever movie you like and create a game surrounding that movie. I have dibs on Nightmare Before Christmas. Nobody take that. Thank you. So that's what my family will be bringing. We're very excited for that. There's going to be a popcorn bar again because we loved it so much. Ways that we can pass out information about our church and just, again, connect with the town. It's wonderful. So we do need your help for that one. Please sign up. That's probably one of our biggest events that we do. And that is October 26th from 3 to 5. QR code, or is there an online way? On the calendar page. Oh, that I definitely know about that. You should go to the calendar page on our website. It has everything. I definitely know. Okay, and then my last announcement is actually not mine. It's Summer's. Where's Summer? Come on down. Sorry, give a hand for Summer. Isn't she great? Look at her. She loves this. She loves taking the microphone. Here you go.
Okay. Just love it. Hi, my name is Summer, and I'm the Director of Administration here at Impact. And I just wanted to announce October every year we take a moment to celebrate Pastor Eric and Pastor Michelle and just all that they do for our community and Impact here in Sykesville. So we have a sign up here, QR code, and it's an opportunity to bless both families. Pastor Eric is a meal train twice a month for the rest of the year, just to help take some pressure off with all kids and sports. And then the other opportunity is a grocery train for Michelle to help with groceries for her family as well. So if you're interested in participating in this, you can sign up here, and a lot of the spots are filled already, but there's still a few left.
Thank you. Well, good job. Good job. Boo Summer. Thank you, church. You have no idea how much Pastor Eric and I just appreciate your support to our families. And if I were to say any more words about my appreciation, I would cry. So I'm not going to do that because I have to pray next. Okay. So that is all of our announcements this morning. We will continue our worship through our morning tithes and offerings in church. Will you pray with me? Lord God, I thank you for your provision in our lives, just the way that we see your presence, we see your good hand and your good works in our lives, God. And we take this opportunity to give back to you. We do so with a joyful heart, God, and anticipation of you multiplying these gifts, God, in your name so that more people would know your son, Jesus. Amen.
Well, good morning again, everybody. I do want to thank some people that have checked in on me about the Orioles, since they did not do well. Some people did not check in. They actually mocked me a little bit. But I went to the game on Tuesday because it was so cheap, and it was a blast. Okay, so score 1 run in 2 games. That's whatever. Okay, so we're doing a brand new series today called Upside Down, and they've actually done different experiments when it comes to the effect of having things upside down or looking at things upside down. And one of the most famous ones, you may have heard about it in school, it's called the Thatcher effect. Here's what this looks like. I'm going to show you a picture. This is Margaret Thatcher, the picture upside down. So you guys see that picture, right? Looks fairly normal, fairly easy. The thing is, this picture is actually not normal. It's not just that it's upside down. Here's actually what this picture looks like the other way. It looks like a serial killer, right? So like you say, what's the problem? Here's what happens. When it's upside down, the eyes and the mouth were actually also upside down. So it made it look normal to us upside down, because what your brain does is it will naturally start to try to form and make a face of things. A lot of times you'll see things like an outlet and be like, oh, you see a face. Like our brain naturally does that. When you make it upside down and the chin is not where it's supposed to be and the forehead is not where it's supposed to be, it messes with our minds and it makes us look different. That even though this was the exact picture, it was just upside down, it looked completely normal to us because we formed a face and we didn't see the fact that, oh, the eyes are not the way they're supposed to be and the mouth's not the way they're supposed to be. This is the effect. It's called the Thatcher effect. The reason why it's called that is because they did it with a picture of Margaret Thatcher when they did it. When it's upside down, it just looks different. When we expect things to be a certain way and something flips upside down, it can be very easy to miss it. It can be very easy to be a little resistant. Throughout this series, we're going to learn that the kingdom of Jesus is an upside-down kingdom. The kingdom of Jesus is an upside-down kingdom. It does not operate the way that we think it should. It does not operate the way that we kind of want it to. It doesn't operate the way that we feel is right. But what we will learn throughout this entire series, it's going to be a longer series getting us all the way to Thanksgiving, when we participate in this upside-down kingdom, a kingdom that feels opposite, that feels backwards, once you do that, you start to notice something, that the illusion of sin saying, hey, you're going to be good. Like, this is the way you're going to, trust me, this is how you feel. You're going to want to go this way. That illusion will start to mess up. Because I'm going to show you another picture. Here's another example of the Thatcher effect. This is Adele. You guys all probably right away noticed, oh, yeah, the eyes and the mouth are the wrong way. Because you know the illusion now. So now if we flip it upside down, that's what the picture looks like. But you knew that. So even before you saw this, you knew, oh yeah, I can now see it. Because the illusion has been broken. You now notice, okay, here's the trick. So now you can't get me on that trick anymore. Once you realize the illusion of sin, that even though it feels right, and it feels like something you want to do, when you realize that it actually just leads you to death, when you realize that, and when you start participating in Jesus' upside-down kingdom, that at first feels like this is not the way I want it to be. This doesn't feel right. But when you start to participate in it, you start to go, oh, this is the way it was meant to be. This is the way that my soul actually wants it to be. The upside-down kingdom that Jesus brought was so evident when he showed up. Jesus was born into a world and a culture that was all built on violence. Between what we read in the Old Testament and between what we read in the New Testament, it's all violence. It was a kingdom rising up against kingdoms. 200 years before Christ, the Greeks actually banned Israel from participating in Judaism. They banned them from doing it, and they would slaughter anyone who defied them. So what the Jews did, they didn't want to take it lying down. So eventually, Jews rose up, led by Judas the Maccabee, and they massacred thousands of Greeks in what is now known as the Maccabee Revolt. You may have learned about it in history. Eventually, the Maccabees reclaimed their religious and their political freedom, and they set up their own quasi-messianic kingdom that was built through forced violence. This is the kingdom, this is the culture that Jesus shows up in. This is what he shows up in. It was believed that if Messiah was going to come, it was going to be in the same way. It was going to come and take power through violence. It was going to come and take power through force. Why? Every kingdom that has ever taken power has been taken power by violence and by force. Then Jesus shows up, and he preaches a whole different type of kingdom. Here's what he says in John chapter 18, verse 36. My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would have been fighting that I might not be delivered over to the Jews. But my kingdom is not from the world. Jesus preached things like love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, turn your cheek, be generous. When they demand you walk a mile, you walk two instead. What Jesus preached was completely opposite of what they saw as the Messianic kingdom, what they thought would be the Messianic kingdom. Every kingdom ever established up to that point was established by fighting and, most importantly, by winning. So when Jews started to report this Jesus guy to Rome, Rome probably laughed. Like, this is a guy who wants to take over through peace. He wants to take over by not being violent. Okay, good luck with that. Like, they probably didn't even think much about it. He was no threat to any kingdom because he was preaching a mindset that would never win, a mindset that would never get past them. I like how Preston Sprinkles says it. He says it this way. Here's the quote. It'll be on the screen. It says, "It is through being defeated by earthly powers that Jesus conquered the spiritual forces of evil and set up his kingdom. It's an upside-down kingdom where leaders are servants, Neighbors and enemies are loved, and poor widows give away half their money. Under the lordship of King Jesus, humility is exalted. The first shall be last. Offenders are forgiven 70 times 7, and ethnic outsiders kneel down to help the half-dead strangers lying in a ditch. The way of Jesus is countercultural. It is upside down and inside out, a kingdom where weakness is power, power is weakness, and suffering leads to glory. This is the kingdom that Jesus came to set. It's upside down. It's opposite of how we want to live and how we think it should work. But this is the kingdom that we are invited to participate in. Here's what's amazing about this upside down kingdom ethic. We're going to talk each week about a different one. Here's what's amazing about it. If you're here and you're not even sure if you believe in this whole Jesus stuff, and I would say if you're here and you feel that way, I am just so happy that you're here, because it takes a lot of courage for you to go into an area or go into a place that you're not fully sure if you believe it, and I understand the hesitancy of it. Like, you may not believe that Jesus actually died and rose again like I do, but you're here, so I just want to commend you for that. But if you're here and you're not sure if you believe it, but you decide, you know what, I'm just going to try these out. At first, it will be hard, but over time, you're going to learn, oh, that's actually a better way for me to live. Oh, there's actually something to this. Just because something is hard, and so just because something at first doesn't feel like it should work or doesn't feel like natural to us, doesn't mean that it's necessarily the wrong thing. In fact, there's a lot of times where it's the right thing to do still. I'll give you plenty of examples. I don't like eating healthy. I hate it. Fried food's delicious. Pizza's delicious, right? Like sugar, I could eat dessert every single night. My kids expect to eat dessert every single night. I don't know where that came from. They think it's a prize for eating. Like, why? Anyways, but once you start to eat healthy, you're not going to want to do it. It's like, I don't want to do that because I like, soda tastes delicious, water's boring. Like, that's what's going to happen. But over time, when you eventually do, you're going to be like, oh, wait, I feel better. Wonder why? Because just because it's hard doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Just because it's not how you feel doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. If you ever worked out, sometimes, first time I started working out, I hated it. I didn't like doing it. But over time, you eventually start to go, oh, it's actually good for me. I feel better as a person. And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, I kind of like this because it's actually what you're made to do. For those of you that drink alcohol, listen, I get it. It's not a sin to drink alcohol. Jesus' first thing was turn water into wine, and he made it good wine. Listen. But here's what alcohol is. You probably know this. It's just tasty liquid poison. That's all it really is, right? So I have friends that they would drink pretty consistently, basically every single day. And I had a friend of mine who one day was like, you know, I'm not drinking a lot every day, but I'm just drinking every day, so I'm just going to stop for like 2 months. And he stopped for 2 months. He's like, dude, you won't believe what happens. You feel so much better. Like, I can sleep. Like, I couldn't sleep before. I'm not anxious about anything. It's like, yeah, it's weird when we're not putting poison in our body consistently. How much better do you feel, right? Like, so no matter where you are on your faith journey, I encourage you for each week, we're going to talk about a different kingdom ethic. I encourage you to live it out. Because here's what Jesus said. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So the next 8 weeks, we're going to look at a different upside-down kingdom ethic. And this week, we're going to look at this one. It's this. Less is more. It's the kingdom ethic of Jesus that less is more. This, for us, is upside down. Because you know what I think is more? More. More is more for me. With money, more is more. And we need more. No matter how much money you make, you'd probably like a little bit more. No matter what you have in your retirement, no matter what it's in your savings accounts, like we could always use a little bit more. Like, I mean, I could always use a nicer car. I could always upgrade the house a little more. I mean, I'm eventually going to move, or I want to build an addition to this house. I need more. More is more. Or maybe not even with our finances, but with our thoughts. More is more. We need to know more. We need to be in control of more. We need to know more about more. So when we aren't in control, we start to fear because we need to know more and understand more, and we don't know enough. Less is more, and that's not true. More is more. I always want more, and I need more. I think back on all my jobs. My first job I ever had, I worked at Sbarro's at Arundel Mills Mall. That was my first job. I got paid $7.50 an hour to work there, and for people to complain to me about how expensive the pizza was. And I was like, dude, I don't make the prices, man. I'm just selling you the pizza. Don't blame me. And I remember when I worked there, I made, for how much I worked, I probably made like $10,000 a year. That was probably how much I made. I was a high school, college student when I was working at Sbarro's. And I remember thinking, man, if I just made like $40,000 a year, I'd be set. Like, I don't need any more than that. Like, I would be so happy with that. And now here I am, years later, I make more money today than I've ever made in my life. I have a house that I love. I have 2 cars. I have a record collection because I like records, which is a very expensive hobby I've learned the hard way. I have that. I have a riding mower because I have a bigger yard. I have a laptop. I'm using an iPad right now. I have an iPhone back there, right? And I still think, I just don't have enough. I could use more. And most likely you feel the same way. If you looked at all the stuff you had, it's like, man, this is a lot of stuff, but I don't feel content a lot of times. I still want more. Less is not more. More is more. At least that's what I think. But here's what Jesus' upside-down kingdom teaches. Here's what he teaches. Do not worry about more. Be content with less. Do not worry about more. Be content with less. In the kingdom of Jesus, the kingdom that we are all invited into, the upside-down kingdom that feels opposite of what we think it should be, but it's really exactly how we are called to be. For us, it doesn't always feel like it should be this, but it's true. Do not worry about more. Be content with less. Jim Carrey, his famous actor in Dumb and Dumber, one of the funniest movies of all time, and if you don't agree with that, you're wrong. Like, there's so many good movies he's been. He has this great quote that he gave not that long ago. Here's what Jim Carrey says, I hope everyone could get rich and famous and will have everything they've ever dreamed of so that they will know that's not the answer. Do not worry about more. Be content with less. In Luke chapter 12, Jesus is teaching to a large crowd, and he gets interrupted, and in his interruption, he uses it as an opportunity to teach a very important lesson that we're going to learn today. Here's how it starts in Luke chapter 12, verse 13. Someone in the crowd said to him, Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. Jesus replied, Man, who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you? I kind of like the way he goes, man, like, what do you... Here's what it's like. Imagine I'm preaching and one of you says, hey, pastor, I got to interrupt you. My husband just won't stop farting in bed. Can you do something about it? I'd be like, what do you want me to do about it? Men are gross. I don't want to tell you. Like, I'm preaching. Jesus is currently preaching, and all of a sudden he gets interrupted. Hey, I got a family dispute happening. Most likely, this is the younger brother, because back then, the older brother got 2/3 of the inheritance. The younger brother only got 1/3. Man, I wish it was still that way. But anyways, 2/3 of the inheritance, the younger brother got 1/3. Most likely, the younger brother is speaking up going, hey, like, I got a question for you. Jesus takes this opportunity to teach something. Here's what he says at verse 15. Then he said to them, watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. All kinds of greed can slip in very easily, can't it? It really can. That is why we have to be on guard, or greed will get in there. Wanting more will get in there. From greed of wanting more stuff, from wanting to save more, from wanting to make more, greed from wanting to know more and be in control of more. To emphasize his point, Jesus tells a story. Here's the story he tells. It says, then he told this parable. The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. So far, so good, right? Like, this is the American dream. Like, he's got too much stuff. That's his problem. I have too much stuff. What do I do with all this stuff? Maybe for you, you had a great year. You got a promotion. You made more money than you've ever made. You've saved more than you were hoping to save. You bought something new. Your business is doing well. That's what we want, right? That's the goal. That's the hope for each one of us. Nothing wrong with that. We all want that. So this rich man has a problem. I got too much stuff. What do I do with all of my stuff? It's a great problem to have. And a lot of us, man, I wish we had that problem. But I don't know if you know this, a lot of us actually do have that problem. See, for some of us, I don't know if you know this, there's an industry that's just there for you to pay rent for your stuff. It's called a storage unit, right? That's what you're doing. You're paying rent for your stuff that you don't have room for. Some of us, I know I do, I have an attic full of boxes of stuff. In my basement, I got boxes of stuff because it's stuff that I don't actually need. I haven't opened the box in years, but just in case, I need it up there, right? Some of us, we have so much money, we put it into accounts that we can't even touch, so it will make more money for us, right? Some of us, that's the same problem. This rich man, he has this problem. Too much stuff. Jesus continues. Then he said, this is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. He's upgrading. This is awesome. He's getting a bigger house. He's got more stuff. This is smart, actually. It's a smart thing to do. Verse 19. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry. I mean, come on. That's the goal. Eat, drink, and be merry. I'm gonna work hard right now. I'm going to save really well. I'm going to build my 401k. I'm going to make sure my kids can go to college. I'm going to do everything I can. So one day I will get to the end of my life and I can go on vacation to Bahamas. Won't have to worry about money at all. I will go to Florida and live. And I will I'm going to get this tattooed on me. Eat, drink, and be merry. I've done everything I need to do. I am ready to go. I don't know if you've ever heard this saying that I've heard retirees use. The saying is ski. I don't know if you know what that is. It's called spending kids' inheritance. Some of the people, it's like, I'm just going to spend it all. You know what I mean? Like, eat, drink, and be merry. Why not? This sounds great. I'm doing what I need to do. So here's this man. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to store it all there. I'm ready to go. I'm all set. Verse 20. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God. Hold up, Jesus. Are you saying that you are going to kill this person for having a lot of stuff? That didn't seem fair to me. Just this week, I have a friend of ours who's a financial advisor. We met with our financial advisor to see, okay, how much money we need to save in order to retire one day, which even though I don't know if I'll ever retire, but let's say, how much money do you save? The Church Nazarene, we found, has a pension for pastors. It's $250 that you get a year when you retire. So I don't have a pension. So I was like, hey, what do we have to do to save, right? So Jesus, are you saying you're going to strike me dead for me and my financial advisor to try to figure out how I'm going to retire one day? Is that what you're saying here? Nope, it's not what this verse means. Well, Jesus, are you saying that God just wants my money, and if I don't give money to God, that he's going to kill me? That's not what this verse means either. Here is what Jesus is saying. You can write this down. Don't focus on now more than you focus on eternity. We are a fool if we are only living for today or for tomorrow, but don't give any thought to eternity. How foolish is it for us to work and work, to grind and grind, to save and to save, to do everything we can, to try to work as hard as we can to save one day for something that we may never use, to save one day for something that your kids are going to spend. You're not even going to spend it. To spend all this time, to do all this work and focus on now, but don't focus at all on eternity. How foolish is it? Is Jesus saying that saving is bad? No, he's not saying that. Proverbs 13:22 says that a good person leaves an inheritance for his children's children. It's good for you to save. You actually should be responsible with your money and with your stuff, with your savings. There's nothing wrong with that. You should do that. Jesus isn't saying that retirement is bad. He isn't saying that being smart and responsible with your money is bad. Jesus isn't saying you can't have stuff and you can't enjoy the stuff that you have. None of that is the point. The point he is making is that you should not be so fixated on the here and now. You should not be so fixated on the pursuit of more and more and more. Do not be so fixated on what is temporary here and take your eyes off the kingdom of God. Because see, money is amoral. Here's what that means. Money is not moral or immoral. It can't be. It's neutral. It's what you do with your money that makes it moral or immoral. Money just makes you more of what you already are. Here's what that means. If you're generous today without money, you'll be generous when you get money. And if you're greedy today without money, you will be greedy when you get money. It just makes you more of what you already are. More is not more. Less is more. Here's something I think is important for us to understand. You cannot be content and greedy at the same time. These aren't just opposites. They're competing with each other, contentment and being greedy. See, greed replaces God with the desire for more, and it will always leave you disappointed. Contentment recognizes who is in control and surrenders it to the one who is in control. So imagine this. Let's say you have your financial goals and you reach every single one of them. You had a certain amount you wanted in your 401k, and you got there. You had a certain amount you wanted to put in your kids' retirement, you got it there. You wanted to build this addition to the house, you were able to do that. You paid off all your debts, you did all that. Like everything you dreamed of in your finances, you got it, and you did all of it, and here you are, you've every single part. Your kids' colleges are paid for, the weddings are paid for, you got all the cars you need, you have more money in your savings account, you know what to do with, and your retirement's set, you're good to go. Let me ask you a question. Then what? Then what's next? Because here's what you will find. It won't fulfill you as much as you thought it would. Why? It's not meant to. Your stuff, your money, it was never meant to fulfill you. Greed tells you that one day when you get it all, you will be fulfilled. It's a lie. I know that's how we feel, and we think, yeah, it might be easy to say, but for the people that have a lot more money. No, it's not going to fulfill you. You were not made for now. You were not made for stuff. You were not made for the pursuit of more. You were made for eternity. Temporary can never replace eternity. It will never replace it. You will never be satisfied when temporary, when your desire is eternity. Greed makes you pursue temporary, convincing you that it is a better substitute for eternity, but it isn't. Listen, I hope you get to all your financial goals. I hope whatever your financial goals are, that you get there and you're able to save the amount you want, and I hope that. That's a good thing. But remember, if that's your only goal, think, then when I do it, I'm going to be content. It'll never happen. Temporary can never replace eternity. More is not more. Less is more. Do not worry about more. Be content with less. So Jesus tells this story, and then he talks to his disciples directly. Here's what he says to his disciples, verse 22. Then Jesus said to his disciples, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. So whenever you live for more, you're always going to worry, because you'll never have enough. Whenever, it's always about more. But Jesus says, do not worry about more. Be content with less. Skipping down to verse 29, he says this. And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. For the pagan world runs after all such things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. See, in other kingdoms, more is more. In the pagan kingdoms, like Jesus said, more is more. But not in this kingdom. In this kingdom, less is more. Once you start pursuing the constant chase of more and more and more, hoping that more will satisfy you, will learn that all you're going to do is crave more. So you're never going to get it. In the upside-down kingdom that Jesus is bringing, you're content with less because what is here is never meant to satisfy you. It will never satisfy you, and you understand that. So we'll be content with less, and we're not going to chase more. Don't worry about more. Be content with less. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather make double the amount you make right now, 10 times the amount you make right now, whatever that number is, 10 times the amount that you make right now, but you're never content? But you make a lot more, 10 times the amount. You'll never have to worry about money again, but you're not content. Or would you rather make a lot less, but you're content? Almost every one of us would be like, money would be nice, but if I'm not happy or content with it, then I don't need that, so I'll choose this. I have good news for you. You can do that right now. You don't have to make that money. You can do that right now. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how much debt you're in. I don't care what you need to have goals. I get it. You can be content right now with however much or however little you make. Here's why. It's not a stuff issue. It's not a money issue. It's not a security issue. It's a heart issue. If you are not content now, more will not make you content. You don't have a stuff issue. You have a heart issue. That's why Jesus says this, verse 32. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. You are invited into his kingdom. It's an upside-down kingdom. So wherever you want your heart to be, put your treasure there. Here's how that looks practically. And I'm going to be as practical and as blunt as I can be. If you constantly save, and you constantly invest, and you constantly buy more, but you're never generous. You do all these things, you're never generous, you never give, you never tithe, but you do all these things. Where's your heart? More. That's what it's on. Let's get off money for a second. If you're constantly grabbing onto control in your thoughts, constantly fearing what you don't know or worrying about what you do not know, where's your heart? More. At the end of the day, God doesn't want you to be trapped by greed. God doesn't want you to be stuck in the constant pursuit of more that will never leave you satisfied. God wants to invite you into a new way of living that is different from every other kingdom. It says, you know what? I'm going to be content no matter what I have. Yeah, I'm going to have goals. Yeah, I'm going to try to I want to make sure I retire one day. I want to be there I want my kids not have to worry about things. Those are all good things. But I'm not going to put my security in that. No, do not worry about more. Be content with less. Let go of the things that are gripping you. Let go of the things that you think will satisfy you. Let go of the thoughts that are controlling you. The way to more is less. I was trying to think this week of a financial story I could tell you, and I have a lot I could tell you. I've talked before about how when we first started church, I didn't work for the first 4 months and had to figure out that. But just recently, about a year ago, my wife and I went through a pretty hard financial hardship. I had a riding mower that I bought used. Bad idea. Bought it for like $800 from some website, and the guy dropped it off. It worked for about 3 months, and then it broke, and it was gone. It's like, hey, I got a new riding mower. But my wife and I are like, we've been good with our money. We have enough money in our savings account right now. We're good. That's why you have it, savings account, right? We'll just buy new ones. We bought a brand new one because we were like, we're not going the used route again. That was a mistake. So we bought a brand new one, over $2,000 for our riding mower. We bought that. It was all good. And then we got our oil bill because we're on oil. And the amount I thought it was going to be, the oil bill was 4 times the amount I thought it was going to be. It's like, ooh, I wasn't planning for this big of an oil bill. So we already hit our savings account. Now we're going to have to grab from our savings account again. But we're all right. We're all right. And then this car we had a Kia Sorento, 2015 Kia Sorento, 100,000 miles on it. We had just paid it off. We're good, like, finally we got rid of our car payment. No miles, like, it's going to last a while. And then all of a sudden my wife was like, hey, the car stopped working. I was like, okay, well, let's tow it to a shop, the Old Town Motors down the street. They're good people. They called me and said, hey, so we have bad news. The oil was draining out of it, and the engine seized up, and the engine's done, so you're going to have to get a new engine, which is going to be worth way more than the car's actually worth. And I don't want to tell you this, but they actually did a recall on this for a Kia, and it was, if you had less than 100,000 miles, you must have missed the recall. Because I had 101,000 miles. He's like, so what do you recommend? He said, I recommend you donate this to Cars for Kids and get a tax break. That was it. I remember I hung up, and I sat on the floor, and I immediately called my wife, who was on the way home. I said, hey, just so you know, start selling kidneys. We're done. Like, I remember I was freaking out. I was like, no joke. We have nothing left. We're done. Savings account's gone. We're going to have to start selling things. Like, I don't know what's, like, how does bankruptcy work? I don't know how that works. I'm going to have to look that up because we're going to have to go that route. I'm freaking out. I'm panicking. I'm having my heart's racing. I'm having a panic attack. And she's like, hey, I'm on the way home. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. She comes home, and I was sitting, like, on, like, basically on the ground in a fetal position, rocking back and forth. I'm not joking. And she was like, hey, it'll be okay. I was like, no, it won't be, Erica. I know what our bank account looks like. I'm looking at it right now. There's nothing in here. Freaking out. And so eventually we get it figured out. We buy a new car. It all kind of works out. We're able to save a little bit. And this whole time, I remember I started praying to God, and I'm going to be honest and vulnerable with you. Don't judge me for this as your pastor. But here was my prayer to God during that season. I was going, hey, God, you know what I'm going through. You also know what I do for a living, right? Like, I'm a pastor. Like, I can make more money doing something else, but it's what I am. And you know what my wife does for a living? She's a teacher. She teaches special needs kids. If anyone deserves for you to provide for them, it'd be us. That was my prayer. I'm honestly. I was like, we're good people. You can't provide for us? Like, I'm a pastor and a teacher. Like, this is the best. Like, what are you doing? That's the entitlement and pride that your pastor had praying to God, right? I'm praying to God that. And I'm giving, like, I try to make sure I have times that I'm praying and talking and the times where I'm listening. This was like, I'm talking now, God. Like, I'm going to tell you what you need to know. I got no money. I don't know if you know how this works. I was mad. About a week of me doing that prayer, eventually got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm going to start being quiet and listen for God to speak. And I would just, like, do some active listening things and just think about where, like, me in the presence of God. And I practice that as much as I can. And a couple days go by and really nothing happens. And then one day I'm doing this and just this thought comes in my head. It feels like a memory, but it's not a memory. And it's very generic, not specific. But I just remember my kids, this thought I had where my kids were trying to do something that was really hard. And they were so mad about this thing that they couldn't do. I don't even remember what it was. They couldn't do it. And I show up as a dad. I take it. I do it immediately and go, guys, calm down, okay? I got it. You're good. I got it. That was the thought I had. And I could just picture myself, picture God looking at me and going, hey, you done now? Calm down. I got it. You're good. That's all. But God, no, calm down. You're good. I got it. But God, we don't have enough. Calm down. You're good. I got it. You know why I was really freaking out? It's not because of money. It really wasn't. Like, I like to mask it was because of money. I had lost control. I lost control, and I didn't like it. God used that experience to remind me, hey, you were never in control. I want to remind you of that. So I wonder today, if there's any of you that are like me. It might be a finance thing, where you're like, you look at your financial picture, you're like, we don't have enough, we're struggling with, we need to figure out what we're going to do, and I get it. It's worrisome. It's very hard. I get it. Maybe for you, it's not a finance thing. Maybe it's a mental thing. You're going through a circumstance, you're going through a situation, and you want to be in control, and you're questioning, God, why are you allowing me to go through this? I wouldn't have done it this way. You know me. Why are you making me do this? Just like my prayer was. Here's my thought. Here's my question. Here's what I'm wondering this week. Either way, whatever it is, financial situation or a thought that you're going through, either way, you are looking for more when God is trying to show you you don't need more. You need to be content with less. You need to realize that, hey, are you done now? You're good. I got it. You are not in control. That's a good thing. I know you want more. Don't worry about more. Be content with less. Because here's what most of us do. We spend the majority of our time fixated on our life, on our circumstances, on here's what we have now. And every once in a while, we'll like look at God. God, you're still there? Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to fixate on here's what I'm going through now. God, it's Sunday morning. You're here? Okay, I'm still going to heaven? Cool. Fixated on this. We're not called to live that way. You know what we're called to live? Focus on Him. And then we glaze at our circumstances. Focus on Him, and we go, okay, I still got to figure out this responsibility, but you are the one that I'm focusing on first. I'm fixating my eyes on you. And yep, I got to figure out my budget. I got to figure out what's going on in this, but I'm fixating my eyes on you, and I'm surrendering every aspect of me to you. That is what we're called to do. Do not worry about more. Be content with less. It's easy to say. It's a lot harder to live. And sometimes the blessing God gives you is He takes away. You're going to have to be content because I'm taking it away. You're going to have to be content because there's situations happening you can't do anything about it. You're going to have to be content. That's a blessing that God has given us. So here's what I want to do as we close today. Worship team, you can start coming on up. We're going to play this. It's a new song. You're going to hear this song every week for the next 8 weeks. It's our theme song of this series. What I want to invite you to do while this song is playing is take this opportunity for you to be in the presence of God with whatever you brought. Maybe you are here today and you have that financial situation that you've been thinking about this whole time. Right now, maybe you've been praying the same prayers I have been praying. Right now, I want you to give that to God. Say, God, I'm surrendering this to you during this song. Maybe for you, it's not a financial situation. Maybe it's something else in your life. It's a worry that you've had. I want you to give it to God right now. Take this moment while this song is playing, while these lyrics are happening, while the music's happening, to say, God, I'm going to be content with less. I'm going to surrender it to you. I can't control it anyways. Thank you for reminding me that I'm not in control of this anyways, and I'm going to give it over to you. Let's pray. God, we thank you that you are the God who invites us to participate in your kingdom. That invites us into a new way of living. So God, I pray that you remind us that more is not more. Less is more. That we could be content right now, no matter what's happening in our life, no matter what our bank account looks like, no matter what fears or worries we have right now, we can be content because we have you. God, I pray that you remind us that you are the God who knows what we are going through. You are the God who mourns with us. You are the God who is there for us, and you are the God who has it covered. So God, I pray that right now, you help each one of us to release it. Help us, speak to us, to whatever it is that you need us to do next, to release it, to show that we are content. God, I pray that you help us right now, in this moment, to stop fixating our eyes on our life circumstance, but to fixate our eyes on you. Thank you for this love. In your son's name, amen. As this song plays, you can stay seated, you can stand whatever you want to do. Just take this time between you and God to send your attention to him.
Let the fragrance of my life be a pleasing sacrifice. Every decision and every moment, may you be glorified. Make me like you. Come mold me, shape me, do what only you can do. Make me like you. Here I am, come take me. All my life belongs to you. Make me like you. So let the fragrance of my life be a pleasing sacrifice. Every decision, every moment, may you be glorified. Make me like you. Come mold me, shape me, do what only you can do. Make me like you. Here I am, come take me. All my life belongs to you. Make me like you, God. Come mold me, shape me, do what only you can do. Make me like you, Jesus. Here I am, come take me. All my life belongs to you. Make me like you. Oh, 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 my one thing. I want nothing more now. Tune my heart to your sound. Be my all in all. Come mold me, shape me, do what only you can do. Make me like you. Here I am, come take me. All my life belongs to you. Make me like you.
I have always wanted to be the one to test the more money, more problems theory, right? Like I volunteer as tribute. Just try me. Can we see for real? But then I think about it and I realize, there have been seasons where I have $5 to my name or 5,000, and in each of those seasons, it didn't matter what was in the bank account. There have been seasons where things are going right along track or things are wildly out of control. And what matters is the positioning of my heart, whether or not I'm content, whether or not I'm at peace. It doesn't matter what's in that bank account. It matters what's in my heart. And every single time, it's going to guide you. So those are lessons learned the more and more we get to know God, the more that we read these lessons in Scripture, right? We have a wonderful God who made this beautiful principle and this beautiful way that we could be content with him. And not only that, he came to this earth and he instructed us in it. He left us with these parables and these stories that we get to learn and uncover and live by. So we can really only achieve that through him. So throughout your week, if you've found this difficult to live by, get to know him. Open up the Gospels and start to read these lessons that he is trying to teach us. And it'll all just align, I promise. I promise he will meet you right there. So church, I'm excited for this series. I'm excited to learn more about this upside-down way of living, to look more and more like Jesus. I hope you are too. So we'll see you back next week. Don't forget, if you've got your connection cards, to give those to a greeter or put them in the gray bin in the back.